I want to ask you a question. That loaf of bread sitting on your kitchen counter right now, do you trust it? For most of us, especially if we're over 60, the answer is yes. Bread is comfort, it's tradition, it's the simple foundation of our meals. We grew up with it and it feels safe. But what if I told you that this trust could be misplaced? What if that very loaf of bread, the one you choose because it seems healthier, is contributing to high blood pressure, fatigue, and the slow, silent hardening of your arteries? I have sat with too many good, honest people in my clinic who were doing everything else right, yet their heart health was failing, and the quiet culprit so often was the very bread they trusted. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain. We will talk about the bread that must be removed from your kitchen if you are serious about protecting your heart. And the first one is the most common of all.
Doctor, I believe everyone watching felt a chill run down their spine with that opening. To question something as fundamental as the bread on our counter, it's unsettling, but it's also necessary. Thank you for having the courage to speak these truths. For everyone here with us, this is Dr. David Miller. He is more than just a cardiologist. He is a fierce advocate for our health, dedicated to uncovering the hidden dangers that can steal our vitality in our precious later years. Doctor, please, guide us. What is this first, most common bread we must be so wary of?
The first one, Sarah, is the one that holds the most memories for us. It is the foundation of childhood sandwiches and morning toast. It is plain, simple white bread. It looks harmless. It feels soft and comforting. But I need you, with all the love and urgency in my heart, to understand that for a body over 60, white bread is a nutritional trap. It behaves in our bodies more like a sugar cube than a source of nourishment.
More like a sugar cube? That's a shocking comparison. How can that be?
It's because of what is done to it. To make white bread, the flour is refined, which means it is stripped of almost all of its natural, God-given fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What remains is a pure starch that your body digests almost instantly, causing your blood sugar to spike rapidly and then crash. For an aging pancreas and a more sensitive insulin system, this up and down roller coaster day after day is an immense strain. It is a well-documented medical fact that this process leads to insulin resistance, which is a direct pathway to type 2 diabetes and dramatically increases your risk for heart disease. But there is a second, even more silent danger: sodium. A single slice of mass-produced white bread can contain up to 200 milligrams of sodium. Now think about your day: a slice of toast for breakfast, 2 slices for a sandwich at lunch. You could be consuming 600 milligrams of sodium before you even get to dinner. For a senior whose daily sodium intake should be carefully managed, often under 1,500 milligrams, that is a catastrophic amount from bread alone.
And what does that extra sodium do to the heart over time?
It forces the heart to work harder with every single beat. Sodium makes your body retain fluid, which increases the volume of blood in your vessels. Your heart has to pump against that extra pressure, day in and day out. Over time, the heart muscle, like any overworked muscle, begins to enlarge and stiffen. This is a condition that leads directly to congestive heart failure. I want to tell you about a patient, Mr. Walter Green, an 81-year-old retired teacher from Iowa. A wonderful man. He came to my clinic with shortness of breath and swelling in his ankles. His blood pressure was high, even though he was on 2 different medications. He insisted he ate a clean diet, no fast food, no desserts. But when we looked at his daily food journal, we saw the pattern: toast with breakfast, a white bread sandwich for lunch, a slice with his soup for dinner. Every single day, for decades. He was unknowingly overloading his precious heart with sugar and salt from the one food he thought was completely safe. We switched him to a true whole grain bread and taught him about sodium. Within 6 weeks, his blood pressure stabilized. He looked at me, and I will never forget his words. He said, "Doc, I thought bread was the least of my worries. Turns out it was the most."
That story is a powerful wake-up call. We are so trained to look for the obvious villains, but the danger was hiding in the most basic food of all.
And it gets even more deceptive, Sarah. This brings us to the second type of bread, the common, mass-produced packaged bread, including many that are labeled whole wheat or heart healthy. You see them lining the grocery store aisles. They are affordable, convenient, and they last for weeks on the counter without going stale. But I ask you to consider what allows them to last so long. It is not a blessing of nature. It is a cocktail of chemicals, preservatives, emulsifiers, dough conditioners. These are added for shelf life, not for your life. And the sodium problem we just discussed, it is often even worse in these packaged breads, as salt is used as a primary preservative. I want you to hear the story of Mrs. Lorraine Banks, a 77-year-old widow from Illinois. She came to me with constant, crushing fatigue. Her legs were so swollen she could barely put on her shoes. Her diet was simple: soup, sandwiches, and toast. She was diligently buying packaged wheat bread, believing she was making the healthy choice. But when we read the label, we found that each slice contained 230 milligrams of sodium. Her 4 slices per day, combined with the salt in her canned soup and cheese, meant she was consuming over 2,000 milligrams of sodium daily. Her heart was, in effect, drowning in salt. This had led to the early stages of congestive heart failure. I will never forget what she told me after we changed her diet. "I never thought bread could hurt me, doctor," she said, "but it was the quietest poison I've ever known."
The quietest poison. Those words are haunting. It's clear we have to become our own health advocates, our own detectives, and start reading every single label.
You must. You must become the guardian of the sacred gift that is your body.
Thank you, doctor. This information is so vital. And for all of you at home, I know this might feel overwhelming. But please know that this knowledge is power. It is the first step toward healing. If this conversation has been a wake-up call for you, if it has made you want to look at your own kitchen counter with new eyes, please let us know in the comments by typing a 1. You are not alone in this realization, and we are all learning together. And please, take a moment to subscribe. It is a free act of commitment to your own health, ensuring you will always have access to this life-saving wisdom. Doctor, the stories of Mr. Green and Mrs. Banks are a powerful testament to how these everyday, convenient foods can work against us. It's clear that we must look beyond the promises on the packaging and become guardians of our own health. But what about the breads we don't eat every day? The ones we save for special occasions? The ones we see as a treat? Surely a little indulgence now and then is okay.
That is the question the heart asks, isn't it? Surely a little bit is okay? And in a younger body, the answer might be yes. But in the sacred season of life, after 60, our bodies call for a deeper wisdom. This brings us to the third type of bread we must discuss: sweetbreads and brioche. The warm scent of cinnamon bread, a golden, buttery Hawaiian roll, a soft slice of panettone during the holidays. These foods are tied to our most cherished memories of family, comfort, and tradition. But I must speak plainly. For an aging heart, these are not innocent treats. They are nutritional traps, and they are especially dangerous now.
What makes them so much more dangerous than, say, a regular piece of white bread?
It is the combination of ingredients, Sarah. They create a perfect storm inside your blood vessels. They are made with the same refined white flour that spikes your blood sugar, but then they are loaded with added sugars and large amounts of saturated fat from butter, cream, or whole milk. This combination doesn't just raise your blood sugar, it creates a dangerous chemical reaction in your bloodstream that promotes insulin resistance, spikes your LDL bad cholesterol, and triggers a state of chronic low-grade inflammation. This is the very recipe for atherosclerosis, the hardening and narrowing of your arteries. I want to tell you about Mr. Calvin Reed, a 75-year-old former truck driver from Oklahoma. A strong, hard-working man. His weight wasn't alarming, his blood pressure was borderline, but he came to me with a tightness in his chest and a fatigue he couldn't explain. On paper, he didn't look like a high-risk patient, but a scan of his heart told a different story. Significant plaque buildup. The arteries of his heart were becoming clogged. The clue came when we discussed his daily habits. He told me, "Doc, I don't eat cake or cookies. I just have a little cinnamon bread with my coffee each morning. My wife bakes it. It's homemade."
Homemade? We always assume that means it's healthier.
But it doesn't. We analyzed the ingredients. Each slice contained a heavy dose of sugar and saturated fat from butter. For years, that little treat had been a daily assault on his heart. It was silent. It was painless. But it was relentless. He looked at me with tears in his eyes and said something I will never forget. That bread was killing me, and I didn't even know it. I was feeding my heart the wrong kind of love. This is a hard truth to accept, I know. It can feel like we are being asked to give up the simple comforts of life. But I am here to tell you that true comfort comes from a body that is at peace, not a body that is at war with itself. If you are still with me, if you are finding the strength within you to face these truths for the sake of your health, please type a 2 in the comments to let me know. Your courage to learn is a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Doctor. The story of Mr. Reed and the wrong kind of love is so powerful. You've talked about dangers from sugar and fat. Is there another kind of danger, perhaps one that involves flavor and our medications?
Yes, and this is a warning of the utmost importance for anyone on certain heart medications. This brings us to bread number 4, garlic bread. That warm, savory smell, the golden, buttery crust. It is a beloved side dish at family dinners. But it poses a triple threat to an aging heart. First, it's often made on a white bread base. Second, it's loaded with butter and salt. But the third threat is the most hidden and the most severe. It is the interaction between garlic and blood-thinning medications.
Garlic can interfere with medication? I thought garlic was good for the heart.
In its pure form, in moderation, it has benefits. But concentrated garlic contains a compound called allicin, which is a natural blood thinner. Now imagine you are one of the millions of seniors who takes a prescription anticoagulant, a blood thinner like warfarin, Eliquis, Xarelto, or even a daily aspirin to prevent strokes or blood clots. When you combine your medication with the blood-thinning effect of concentrated garlic, you are essentially doubling the dose. Your blood can become too thin, which dramatically increases your risk for internal bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or a sudden, dangerous drop in blood pressure. I think of Mrs. Joan Ellis, a 79-year-old widow from Michigan, a sweet, gentle woman who had been successfully managing her atrial fibrillation with warfarin for years. But then she started feeling dizzy, tired, and noticing strange bruises on her arms. One day she collapsed. At the hospital, we found her blood was dangerously thin. She hadn't changed her medication. But when we talked, she mentioned she'd started baking fresh garlic bread a few times a week. "I thought I was doing something good for myself, doctor," she told me. She had no idea she was unknowingly creating a life-threatening situation. That is the terrifying reality. You can feel fine, while inside your body's delicate balance is being thrown into chaos.
So what we eat doesn't just affect us on its own. It can completely change how our life-saving medications work inside our bodies.
Precisely. The margin for error narrows after 60. The wisdom required of us becomes greater. We must become guardians not just of our food choices, but of the sacred interaction between our food and our medicine.
Doctor, the dangers you're describing are so hidden, tucked away inside foods we associate with flavor and family. It's clear we have to be so careful. But what about the breads that are actively marketed to us as being safer choices? The ones that promise to be better for senior heart health right on the package? I'm thinking of things like sugar-free or low-carb breads.
Sarah, this is one of the most heartbreaking deceptions of all, because this is where people with the best intentions, people who are actively trying to manage their health, are led astray. This brings us to bread number 5. Bread made with artificial sweeteners. It promises all the taste with none of the guilt. It feels like the perfect solution. But I am here to tell you that these chemicals, sweeteners like sucralose, sorbitol, and aspartame, can quietly upset your gut, stress your heart, and even affect your mind.
How can something with no sugar cause such problems?
Because our bodies are a miraculous, interconnected creation, and they cannot be tricked so easily. These chemicals confuse your body's natural wisdom. They taste sweet, so your brain anticipates sugar, which can disrupt your insulin response over time. But more immediately, many of these sweeteners, especially the sugar alcohols like sorbitol, are poorly absorbed by our gut. They ferment in the colon, causing gas, bloating, and chronic diarrhea. For a senior, this isn't just uncomfortable. Chronic diarrhea can lead to dehydration and a dangerous loss of the very electrolytes, like potassium and magnesium, that your heart needs to beat steadily. I think of Mr. Benjamin Holt, a 73-year-old retired mechanic from Ohio, who came to me with constant bloating and dizzy spells. He was a diabetic who was so proud that he had switched to a diabetic-safe bread, but that bread was loaded with sorbitol. When we removed that one healthy product, his symptoms vanished. He told me, "I was just trying to avoid sugar, Doc. I didn't know the substitute could be worse."
So the solution was actually creating a different set of problems.
Precisely, and it doesn't stop there. This brings us to bread number 6, and it may be the softest, most innocent-looking loaf in the entire grocery store. Packaged bread with emulsifiers and softeners. You know the kind. You squeeze the plastic bag and the loaf bounces back like a pillow. It can stay that soft on your counter for weeks. That is not natural. That softness is the result of industrial chemicals with names most of us can't pronounce. Datum, monoglycerides, calcium propionate. These are added for a long shelf life, not for a long and healthy life for you.
And what do these chemicals do inside our bodies?
Emerging science is deeply concerning. These emulsifiers have been shown to disrupt the delicate lining of our gut, our God-given internal garden of healthy bacteria. This can create a state of low-grade inflammation that doesn't just stay in the gut. It travels through the bloodstream and directly contributes to the inflammation that damages your heart. I saw this with a patient, Mrs. Carol Whitman, a 76-year-old retired librarian. Her cholesterol was slowly creeping up despite a clean diet. The culprit was her soft, healthy whole wheat bread, packed with these additives. The more perfect and unnaturally soft your bread is, the more likely it is to be a chemical creation, not a true food.
We have 3 breads left on the list, Doctor. What are the final traps we need to be aware of?
The final 3 are what I call the deceptive forms. Number 7 is most gluten-free breads. Many people switch to gluten-free thinking it is inherently healthier. But for most people who do not have celiac disease, this is a mistake. To achieve a bread-like texture without gluten, manufacturers often use highly refined starches, like white rice flour or tapioca starch. These have virtually no fiber or nutrients and can spike your blood sugar even faster than regular white bread. Number 8 is the bagel. A warm bagel with cream cheese feels like a classic breakfast. But I want you to understand that eating one dense, heavy bagel is the nutritional equivalent of eating 4 or even 5 slices of white bread at once. It is a massive, concentrated load of refined carbohydrates and often a huge amount of sodium that sends your blood sugar and blood pressure soaring. And finally, number 9, pita bread, and large flour tortillas. Much like the bagel, their danger is in their density and deceptive serving size. They are made from the same refined white flour as white bread, and we often overfill them, creating a meal that is overwhelmingly heavy in carbohydrates that will burden your heart.
Doctor, listening to all of this is overwhelming, but it is also absolutely essential. It feels like the biggest lesson here is not about memorizing a list of bad breads. It is about a fundamental shift in our thinking, a new level of awareness that is required of us now.
That is the entire message today, Sarah. That is the sermon I hope everyone hears. The greatest danger is not the single slice of bread you might eat. The greatest danger is living in ignorance. It is believing that the rules of health from your 40s still apply in your 70s. The greatest danger is ignoring the whispers from your own body, the fatigue, the swelling, the shortness of breath, and dismissing them as just a normal part of getting older. But I am here to tell you, with all my heart, that while aging is a certainty, decline is not. This new season of your life is a divine invitation to become wiser. It's not about a list of forbidden foods. It is about embracing a new philosophy, a new commitment to protecting and nurturing your senior heart health with every choice you make. It is a call to listen to your body when it whispers before it is ever forced to scream.
It's not about fear. It's about choosing to live in loving awareness and wisdom. Thank you, Doctor, for speaking the truth with such profound care. For everyone who has been on this journey with us, we thank you. The message is not to fear bread, but to choose it with wisdom. To avoid the traps of refined flour, hidden sodium, unhealthy fats and chemicals. To honor your body with real, simple, nourishing food. Now, as we close this important conversation, we turn to you. What is the one single change, inspired by what you've heard today, that you plan to make this week? It could be looking at a label, choosing a different loaf, or skipping the bread altogether for one meal. Please share your commitment in the comments below. Your story may be the exact encouragement another person needs to see. If this message has empowered you, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps this work of protection reach more people. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss these life-saving conversations. And if you have a friend or a family member who you love, please share this video with them. It is a true act of caring. Thank you for your time and for your trust in us.
Your life is a gift. Honor it, protect it, and be well. God bless you.
Until next time, take care.